Hello there, and to this morning's broadcast. It's great to have you with us, and it's really lovely that you've been sharing this with your friends and enabling the message to spread more widely. So keep that up. That's great. You can still sign up for courses that Mid and North Powys Mind are running, and you can see the details of that on the Facebook page. And you can still arrange to have a one-to-one call with one of the Mid and North Powys Mind team. So again, the details are on the Facebook page. But I'd like to invite you to this introduction to Tai Chi. There's a couple of things to say about this before we get started. The first one is that, particularly if you're not used to physical exercise or that when we do Tai Chi, that we do the movements only as much as our body wants to do them. So, for example, if I'm doing a movement and as you're doing it, you feel your body start to complain, then don't go any further. So in Tai Chi, we call this listening for your soft limit. So that's the limit that your body's saying, actually, I don't want to go any further than that. And that might mean that your movement looks a bit smaller, but that's absolutely fine because we're encouraging the body to find the place that it's comfortable. So that really is the number one thing, because we don't want any of you to do any damage to yourself. And you'll find that as you do more of these exercises, that your body begins to loosen up, and actually the movements might begin to become bigger anyway. So that's really the main thing to say. That's number one. And that's why we do Tai Chi slowly, so that as you do the movements, say we just have a look at the first movement, where we're just raising our arms to shoulder height and letting them come back down. Now, even that looks like quite a simple movement maybe, but maybe if you're struggling and maybe you have a shoulder injury or something in the upper chest, or you have a problem with your elbows, you may even find that that's a bit of a stretch to do this exercise. So listening to how your body feels means that you just do as much as you want to do, as your body wants you to do, and that's absolutely fine. So let's be really clear about that. The second thing to say is that I'd like to ask you to stand in a different way to maybe the way that you're used to standing. It's the way that toddlers stand when they first start to become upright. So when they've gone from crawling and they've pulled themselves up on their playpen bars and they start to stand, they're pretty wobbly. So I'm not asking you to wobble, but if you can imagine what that looks like, a toddler standing up, one thing that you can notice is that their knees are bent. So if you just check in right now with how you're standing, a pound to a penny that you had your knees pushed back, that your knees were locked back. Just check for that. And what I'd like you to do is to see what it feels like just to bring your knees forward just a little bit so that they come off the lock position. So just try flicking between those two. Knees unlocked, knees locked. Push the knees back to lock them again. And then bring them forward so that you come just enough to come off the lock. Maybe you can see how different that feels. So just try that one more time. Just push the knees back so that they're locked again. Do you feel how rigid that feels? Maybe how disconnected from the ground that feels. And then bring them forward again just so that they come off the lock position. So you just come down slightly, but it's not crumpled like this. It's still as big as you can be, but with the knees flexed. But what that does for you is it brings your center of gravity down so that you can feel the ground, so that you actually are connected into the ground in a way which you weren't when you had your knees locked before. So in fact, this is so important. This is going to be your practice, your homework, if you want to do any, for this next week, that every time that you catch yourself with your knees locked back, that you just bring them forward again, that you just bring your knees forward and you come into this more soft space. It's the sort of space that you would be in if you were dancing, because you wouldn't dance with your knees locked back. You would be like this. I know in one of the Tai Chi classes we did the twist, because you can't do that with your legs stiff. You have to be on flexible, soft, springy knees to do that. And you can do that loads and loads of times during your day. When you're brushing your teeth, just check that your knees are off the lock, they're flexible. When you're boiling the kettle, when you're cooking, anything in fact that you're doing standing up when you're still, you can be practicing having your knees relaxed and flexible. And I know that seems kind of weird. It feels weird because it's not normal. It's not how you've usually been standing. And I know that when I began to do Tai Chi, it took about 6 months before this became the new norm, before this became the normal way of being. And then I would catch myself if I'd gone back to the other way. So it takes a bit of time to get used to, but if you imagine, say, somebody who's surfing, their knees are bent so they can feel the surfboard. And if you were skateboarding, same thing. Skiing, knees bent, all of those things so that you can feel the ground. And in the Chinese way of understanding, standing connected into the ground is one of the 3 places that we gain energy from. So along with eating, breathing, is standing connected to the ground. It's that important. So give it a go. And while we're doing these exercises today, just keep that in mind, that we're going to have our knees flexed. So let's make a start at our first exercise. And I'd like you to just look down at your feet right now. In fact, if you're on a carpet, if you're indoors doing this, which probably most of you are, then take your shoes off and even take your socks off so that you can feel the ground with your toes. So you have an even better connection with the ground. What we're looking for is for your feet to be the same width apart as your hips. So for me, that's about here. Or you could say the same size, same far apart as your shoulders. So we could call it shoulder width apart or hip width apart. When I look down at my feet, they're both pointing absolutely straight forward. Now again, when you try that, you may find that one or even both feet don't want to go absolutely straight forward. So just encourage them as much as they want to come straight forward. But if they're still pointing at an angle, and that's as far as they want to go, then that's fine. But if you can and you're comfortable, just when you check that they are facing forward. So this first exercise, or we're on flexible knees, is we're just going to raise the arms to shoulder height, no further, and let them come back down again. And as we come up, we stand up a bit taller, and as we relax down, we just sink down a little bit. So we're going up and down. And as you might guess, we're breathing in as we come up, and we're breathing out as we come down. So if you just carry on doing that, I'll just show you what that looks like from the side. Lovely. The second one's a bit the same, but we get a deeper breath, we get a bigger in-breath. So as we breathe in, we stand up and the arms come out. As we breathe out, the arms come down and sink back down. So breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. We breathe out, we just let everything sink into the ground. As we breathe in, we allow the breath to inflate our entire body. Great. The next one looks, for me, it looks like a palm tree swaying in the wind. And to be able to do this one properly, we have to be clear about which side, whether we're in our left leg or our right leg. What I mean by that is, where do we have our weight as we bend over? So if you just stay still and just look at this for a moment, this is breathing in, and then breathing out is as I relax to the side. So I'm going to relax that way, whichever way that is on your screen, whether it's left or right. So I'm breathing out as I relax over, and I'm looking at the palm of my right hand, or this hand, and then I'm breathing in here and breathing out here. So the key thing with this exercise is that as I'm leaning over that way, that the weight of my body comes into this leg here, on this side. So weight's on this side. I just lift up my other leg, so you can see there's no weight in that leg. And I'm leaning over like this. Then I come 50-50, the weight's equal in both feet. And then as I lean that way, I put the weight into this leg down here. Okay, so your turn. So we're breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And let the arms come down. So we're just finished today by just the ending exercise, where we have our palms facing upright as we breathe in, and then we turn them over as we breathe out. So breathing in, turn the palms over, breathing out. We can just let the busyness of all of that, of trying to get to grips with these new exercises, we just let that fade away as you allow yourself just to come into this simple exercise of breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Fantastic. I think that's probably enough for one day for the first try. Have a practice of staying with flexible knees as you go about your day. Um, there is a booklet which I'll ask Becca to put up on the Facebook page, and it has the pictures and it has some description. So probably for next time, I'll put that up there when we have a go at a few more of these exercises. And bit by bit, as you get used to them, you'll be able to sink into the feeling of them rather than wondering, where am I supposed to put my hands? So there'll be a bit of that as we begin, but as we carry on, there'll be the opportunity for you to start to sink into the feel of your body moving and for you to be present during that movement and to be aware of the breath entering and leaving your body in a way which might have been difficult this first time. So well done for first try. Have a go in the week coming. Stay on those flexible knees and come and join us next time. And we'll go through those same exercises again so you get a bit more practice, and we'll have a look at some more. So that's all for now. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.